Hey all, so there's a big thing happening if you have MOHELA student loans. What you should know is MOHELA is completely changing their back-end operating system. So they're moving off of what they've used forever, which is really a system that's built off of something that was owned by FedLoan or FIA, if you remember them. It's called the Compass system, and that's how they've been measuring and managing all their loans for quite a long time. And what's happening is they've transitioned to a new system, or they're transitioning to a new system, the class system. It's the same system that AidVantage and Ed Financial use as well. So they're trying to standardize things, which you'd think, oh, great, that's good, right? The problem is there's really two transfers happening at once if you have MOHELA student loans, and really maybe even a third sort of non-transfer transfer. I'll explain what that means. So for most MOHELA people, you're going to be going to mohela.studentaid.gov to set up an account. So that's going to be the new place that you're going to manage your student loans for the vast majority of people that have their loans serviced by MOHELA. So that is going to happen. The MOHELA is going to be on a new back-end processing system for student loans. Now, the risk is that things might not transfer over, right? So the real risk that might happen is that, they double count your loans, or they don't have your payment history right? Or you forget to go create an online account and you don't get notified about an IDR certification or something like that. So that's like the concern. I'm going to show you the two different types of transfers and then the third non-transfer transfer, and I'm going to explain what it all means for you next. So this is the kind of thing you'll get in an email if MOHELA is moving over your student loans to the federal mohela.studentaid.gov website. So this is the kind of email that you'll get. It's literally just explaining what it means, explaining you got to go create a new account. This is just explaining everything that's going to happen, right? So this is the most common email that people will get, and if this is occurring to you, what I would do is I would go look at your payment amount on MOHELA's website. I would look at your scheduled IDR recertification date on MOHELA's website. And then when it moves over, what I would do is create my new account, and then I would give it a couple days, and I would go check my credit score, and I would go check my studentaid.gov account, and I would go check my new account at mohela.studentaid.gov, and I would make sure that my loan amount matches what I think it should be. I've seen a lot of problems in some cases where people's loans are not fully accounted for, or they're double counted. A lot of this back in the day simply had to do with the servicing system couldn't handle more than like 100,000 of accrued interest. And so they would split it up into two different loans or something, and then they wouldn't show up on the system. So there's all kinds of weird things that can occur whenever you move from one service or platform to another. Now, technically, this person is going to be keeping MOHELA. This is actually not an example of somebody who is losing MOHELA. They're keeping MOHELA. The loans are just transferring to this new portal, and MOHELA is going to be using a new back-end processing system, to manage everything. So that's the first type of transfer that's occurring. Now let me show you the second type of transfer that's occurring. So some borrowers that have MOHELA, about 1 million, are going to be having their loans move from MOHELA to Ed Financial. Why? The Department of Ed is obsessed with this idea of having the servicers be roughly in balance with each other, meaning that all the big four servicers, they want them to have roughly the same amount of borrower accounts. Why is that? Well, because they don't want to be too dependent on any one servicer, and they want to be able to, punish or reward servicers for different performance levels, which is kind of ironic because if you have like 4 different big servicers, MOHELA, AidVantage, Ed Financial, and Nelnet. So if you have these 4 big servicers, and if they're supposed to all have balanced numbers of borrower accounts, what's the point of rewarding good service or punishing bad service? You're not really doing that, right? But, Department of Ed rarely acts logically. So this is affecting, about 1 million people. Now there's like 40-ish million student loan borrowers, right? So, MOHELA is supposed to have around 10 of them. So this is affecting a minority of borrowers, but it is impacting borrowers. Now you might say, well, I moved my loans to MOHELA because I wanted to get PSLF. Well, the deal there is, you can still get PSLF if they move you over to Ed Financial. It's just that MOHELA will no longer be the PSLF servicer anymore. So what's going to happen, and this is the third thing to know about the MOHELA transfer, this is the non-transfer transfer. So all PSLF responsibilities are going directly to Department of Ed to manage instead of having them managed through the MOHELA website. And so what's going to happen is you're going to go solely to the Student Aid website to do PSLF stuff, and then that's going to make MOHELA's interaction not critical to PSLF borrowers. And so in the future, for people applying for PSLF, in the future, you're not going to need to be at any given specific servicer. You're going to stay at the same servicer, and you're going to go do all your PSLF stuff on the federal student loan website. So there's a lot of crazy things going on with MOHELA and just servicers in general right now. Keep in mind that the only servicer of the big four that has significant experience managing student loans that are in active repayment is Nelnet, and that's the only one of the big four. And so the vast majority of servicers don't have any experience managing all these complex income-driven repayment plans. And also because the pandemic paused student loans for years, a lot of the servicers have lost that institutional knowledge of how to do things in an efficient way. So if you have problems with your servicer and if you have issues during this transfer, go to the Federal Student Aid website, FSA complaint. You can Google that and you can actually file a complaint if something goes wrong. And you can, of course, also share this video or subscribe to Student Loan Planner and follow Student Loan Planner and get more tips like this. So if you have any comments or anything that you want to ask about, put them in the comments so that we can know. And I think hopefully we'll be able to get you more content like this that will help demystify the complex stuff with student loans. So thank you for following Student Loan Planner. Put some comments if you have any questions. Thanks, folks.